ninth round pick out of the Citadel in 1981. Stump carved out a successful NFL career with the Cardinals.
He's strong. He can move. He was agile. He can make guys miss. He had it all. He had everything in the
game. In Cardinals franchise history, only Larry Fitzgerald has more all-purpose yards.
He did it all, man.
Welcome to another edition of Stump Talk Podcast, Running Back University, produced by Mr. Russell and Ro Goldstein, Russell Johnson and Ro Goldstein. Listen, we always like to start off the show by thanking the T County Browns backers. We really appreciate your support. We are riding with you as well. The Browns rolling in now at 1-5 after a loss at the Pittsburgh Steelers, 9-23. I want to start out, Coach, with some stats. We had Dylan Gabriel throw 29 of 52 for 221 yards and no touchdowns. If my math is right, he had more pass attempts than we ran the ball, right? In your mind, Coach Stump, when you think about a rookie quarterback fitting into a new system and all of what that is involved in transitioning from college to pros, do you feel like how normal is that for a rookie quarterback to be throwing more, right, than running the ball?
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with the situation. They were behind, so they're in the fourth quarter. You definitely got to pass the ball to try to get back in the ball game. I think that has something to do with it. Also, they were not running the ball that well. So some of those passes they used as an extension of a run, trying to just dump the ball out where you can get about 4 or 5 yards. That's the intention. And now they go second down. It's a much more manageable down. So some of those throws that they threw was just an extension of being a run.
And, I'm riding with you on that. That's my phrase for this week, as you can tell. At what point in the beginning of the game do you throw that flag in on the run game? What's the, share what the philosophy is on that when that white flag is thrown in and you shift more to a passing offense?
Well, since Kevin been in Cleveland, other than the first year, most of the time there were going to be more passes than runs. I think he ran the ball the first year because he was still under the cuff or hand cap of coach that he had in Minnesota. As he still heard him in his ear saying, you gotta run the ball. He was a defensive head coach. But after that, he became his own guy and he decided to throw the ball more. Also, analytics says, at least when I was there, I don't know if it's changed. If you don't average 6 yards a run, then you shouldn't run the ball, which is totally nonsense when 10 yards is a first down.
I really appreciate you mentioning his time at Minnesota because I want to really ask you this question. When you think about, as a coach or a fan, the game of football, the different conferences and divisions, is there any type of rule of thumb, right, in terms of what types of offensive schemes work best in either conference or within the divisions? Because if I could just add this, it just feels like there's no thought to the history of the AFC North. What's worked, what hasn't worked, for whatever reason. So I want to go back and ask you this question. Are the offensive schemes just kind of like cookie cutter wherever the coaches come from or go to? They just take their system into that organization and there's an expectation that it works?
Well, they try to do that, but the thing about good coaches is that they realize that players come before they do. Your playbook means absolutely nothing if you don't have the players that can perform. Until you can get those players, you need to make sure your system revolves around the talent of the offensive lineman on offense. On defense, you want to have some defensive linemen that can put pressure on the quarterback, and you need to have some guys that can cover. going into the draft, you would think that going into a draft. Well, it's obvious the Browns did not attack the draft knowing that every offensive lineman that they had on that team at some point was injured. So instead of replacing some offensive linemen, they get two backs after they had a back that averaged over 5 yards a carry last year. They thought he was the problem.
So fascinating when I hear you speak to your expertise on this, because if you have analytics that suggest when you should abandon the run and go to the pass, it doesn't sound like the Browns use the common sense the good Lord gives each of us and recognizes just what you shared and drafts for the positional needs, right?
Right. There was. I mean, you do not trade your pick to the Jaguars when you needed wide receivers and defensive backs, and you can get both of those in one guy in Travis Hunter. I mean, you just don't do that, but the Browns did it.
Yep.
There's not a game that Travis don't go that he don't have some stats. I looked at Miles. Miles had one sack. I mean, one tackle this past game. So did their number one draft pick. You just don't give up a player of Travis caliber to get a guy like that. Yeah, they got a good defense, but it does nothing for you offensively. This guy could help you defensively and could have helped them defensively and offensively.
It so makes you wonder. And speaking of offensively, so Quinshon Junkins had 12 carries, 36 yards, zero touchdowns. It was a significant contrast to his previous games. What did you see was the difference? What did the Steelers defense do that resulted in him having pretty much no impact on the game?
Well, they know they can't throw the ball. They don't throw the ball downfield a whole lot, so they they're gonna play the run more. They kind of like stack the box for the most part, and that's what they did. They were going to force them to beat them with the pass, and they didn't think. As a matter of fact, they know they don't have the offensive power to beat them. No one's afraid of their tight ends or wide receivers for the most part. They're going to catch some balls, but they're not going to put up enough points to beat them.
Coach Stump, take us deeper. We get the concept of stacking the box, but math is math. You got 11 players on one side and 11 players on the other side. They stacked the box. What was it, even in that moment, that failed on the offensive side for the Browns? They had Fannin, what, 7 receptions, 81 yards? Could they have used him more? Judy, what did you see failed even in those situations where the Steelers stacked the box that we couldn't at least move the ball down the field with the short passes?
Well, they moving some, but then they say in football you bend but you don't break. So they gave up some uh, yardage, but they weren't worrying about the Browns scoring. They already know what they're going to do offensively. They have corners, they have linebackers, they have to worry about so much. You got Alex Highsmith right there, and then you got Watt on the other side. Those guys, even when the Browns were at their best, it was always difficult against those guys. Now you got those offensive linemen that are a few years older, still have some injuries, don't move as well, and those guys still playing at a high level. Cam Hayward inside, you know, he's always been a monster when you're trying to run. So you're not going to get a whole lot of yards against those guys. Uh, when we were there in 23, uh, before Nick got hurt, I mean, he had 60 some yards in the first half, but that's a different time now.
What you said about the offensive line being injured, older, where does just that raw determination to dictate your will on an opponent come into play, even in that circumstance, Coach Stump?
Well, Kevin don't know anything about that other than in the air. He's not a run guy. They're not going to be able to dominate anybody. But it's been a while since they had a running back to get at least 23 carries in a game. Uh, I mean, when I was there, we had Nick. Rarely did Nick get 20 carries. That just didn't happen. And if he did get those carries, most of them was in the fourth quarter. If we was winning a ball game, and we didn't want to put it in the air. But running the ball has never been a major priority for Kevin. I mean, third and one or fourth and one, he's going to go quarterback sneak. You count that as a run, and may not have but 20 runs, and a couple of them, especially when he had Jacoby, were going to be quarterback sneaks.
Appreciate that. Listen, speaking of dominating and the run, we're going to transition over to the running back spotlight of the week. Greg Yeager III from Akron, St. V, St. Mary, ninth grader. Check this out.
Hello, I want to welcome everybody to the running back spotlight of the week for the RBU Stump Talk podcast. We have our this week's running back, Gary Yeager the third, out of St. V. St. Mary in Akron, Ohio. How you doing, Gary?
I'm doing good. How about
Doing well. I just wanted to say this. I saw you play last week. Got a chance to talk to your dad, and you are definitely a special talent. I've watched a lot of running backs. Coach Stump Mitchell obviously is the running back wizard and the guru, so he'll see your game film, breakaway speed. You have vision, and I like the way you run the football because your runs, 80-yard runs, were up the middle, right? So it was yards after contact. Looks like you're going to be a big running back. I love the big running backs. Um, Tell everybody your name and what number you wear.
My name is Gary Yeager the third, and I wear number 4.
How old are you?
I'm 14.
Why did you pick number 4?
I picked number 4 because I just think it looked good on me. To be honest,
It looks great on you, my friend. That's a fact. So why did you pick the running back position to play football?
I like running back because I love having the ball in my hands and making the plays.
Do you have a pregame song or any theme music to get you going?
Nah, just any song by NBA YoungBoy or Babyface E.
Babyface who?
E.
Babyface E. I gotta look him up. I don't know about Babyface E. I'm definitely familiar with NBA YoungBoy. What is your pregame meal? What do you like to eat before a game or after a game?
It's like Subway.
Subway. Okay. How's the season going for you, and what are you looking forward to do the rest of the season?
Season going good so far. I'm just looking to grind.
What's your favorite class at school?
Math.
Man, so we had a kid from Camp McKinley last week. He said math. You kids are different. You know, we grew up hating math. Your dad would probably tell you that. So to see a young black kid like yourself say he loves math, whatever your family is doing over there, they got you in the right space, man. So I'm glad to hear that. As far as your teammates, what do you want to say to your teammates right now? If you can, want to give them a shout out.
Just gotta stay disciplined. Trust the grind.
Name your top 5 colleges that you like. Your favorite schools for football.
Oregon, Georgia, Texas, and Penn State.
Those are all great schools. If you had to name one out of the 5, could you do that? That would be your top favorite.
Ohio State.
Ohio State Buckeyes. Here we go. If you can talk to an NFL coach right now about playing the running back, what would you ask him?
How could I do better? And what's the difference between a good running back and a great running back?
I'll make sure we get that question over to Coach Stump. What other sports do you play during the year?
I run track.
So tell us a little bit about school, man. You like St. V and you have friends there, or what's it like on campus?
Yeah, St. B, it's a cool school. Like I've just got to get used to like the Catholic stuff,
I got you.
but it's
Who's
really cool. And I got a lot of friends there.
you got a lot of friends there? Do you know your Twitter or your IG so you can tell the people?
My Instagram is 330 underscore LUL Gary.
You know your Twitter?
I don't got a Twitter.
Oh, okay. Well, I want to say this. What are you looking forward to as far as next year playing running back? Do you have your goal set for the next level?
Nah, I just trying to get better.
Okay. Who's your favorite football player?
Jameer Gibbs.
Jamil Gibbs is a dog. Okay. Have you ever chance to ever meet him by chance or anything like that?
Nah,
Okay. Well, we're going to be doing the running back U this summer, and we're going to invite some of the premier running backs. So we'll have some NFL guys there. So definitely going to connect with your dad, and we're going to push your brand and let people know who you are. I'm going to post your social media so people can find out how to get in contact with you. Your parents and your family is very important for you to be who you are. I can see the passion your dad has, man. So they've done a good job with you. So I'm going to take my hat off to them. I'm coming to the table a little late, but I'm on the table. I'm with you, big dog. So any last words you want to say to your teammates, to your family, anything, you got the floor. Say whatever you want.
to be honest, we just like we family out here. We just no matter what, we got each other's backs.
Very nice. I want to say Gary Yeager the third, St. B. St. Mary, Akron, Ohio. He wears number 4. Jameer Gibbs is his favorite player. We're going to play his clips, and I want to wish you good luck. I'll be there to watch you. We got you giving us 3 more years, so I'll definitely be cheering you on and rooting for you. And I'm excited about watching your journey.
Sir, thank you.
All right, thank you, Dad Gary. Thank you to your family over there. We'll talk soon. Hello. Want to make his dad just text me, Big Gary. That's Gary Yeager the third. Coach, I went to see this young man play. He had 3 80-yard touchdowns, and I know Coach Stump, you have an appreciation for track, and he's a big back, long arms, and you notice his runs were up the middle. He's running between the tackles, taking it 80 yards, and I fell in love with this kid the way he runs the ball, Coach.
No question, big guy got speed. That's one thing. You get a guy in space, you want him to be able to take it a distance, and he proved to you that he can do that.
Very nice. Uh, what did you see, Sapphire? You saw his clips. He's at LeBron James's high school, obviously, so I think he'll get some shine there. I talked to him about starting varsity next year as a sophomore.
I mean, first of all, I want to acknowledge Bob Underwood, Big Gary, Jay Brantley, Tuck2434, and Mo and Markia all sending that man positive sun rays. My single question is, what are they feeding these young men in Ohio? My word, they look huge. I started thinking about Jerome Bettis watching those clips, right? Like,
Yeah,
and he's a baby, he's a ninth grader. Great parents, great structure, healthy. He had me when he said math was his favorite subject.
yes, sir. We love to hear that.
Well,
Uh,
those guys now they have nutrition bars. They have Under Armour, and a whole lot of other things that they didn't have back in the day. People realize that nutrition is, especially those young men going to school. Sometimes kids don't get anything to eat until they get to school, unfortunately. And now a lot of the schools are providing not only meals but additional nutritional meals for those guys, and they most of them have a dynamic weight program, and guys are definitely much bigger now coming out of high school than they were back in the day.
Yes, they certainly are. And it sounds like Aaron Rodgers is on that same dynamic plan because at 41, almost 42 years old, gentlemen, 2 touchdowns, leading the Steelers to the victory over the Browns. They're now 4-1. Wanted to, as we close, we touch third base and head home. Coach Stump, We got the news recently, in the last 24 hours, that the Titans have made a change in their head coach, Brian Callahan, also his father, Bill. Please, at 419, they made that decision to pull the trigger barely into his second year. Share your observations on that, what you think the future may be for both of them, and real quick, compare and contrast their decision to accept reality, move on, compared to the Cleveland Browns, which we still have Coach Stefanski.
Well, I don't think they were really given a fair opportunity for the simple fact since they've been there, they've changed quarterbacks a couple different times, and they also changed general managers. So they never really had an opportunity to work together. Uh, the quarterback that they had the first year, he won more games for the other team than he did for for Tennessee. Uh, so it's unfortunate because they're great. Two, both of them are great coaches, but that's the business. The owners she didn't feel as if they were getting the job done, and they were not hired by the general manager that they have right now. So, he wanted to go in a different direction. I don't know if it was from the owners or if that's the decision that he thought he needed to make, but they made it. They came together and made that decision. Now, as far as the Haslams, I don't know. I guess they're great people, but I think they're listening to the wrong people because Stefanski the last couple of years. As a matter of fact, since he let those coaches that he had go, he's not as good of a coach as he thought he was. But he's a great guy when it comes to firing people. That's what he tends to be doing. With the offensive line coach he had last year and the offensive coordinator Dorsey last year. Now he's bringing a couple. He brought new guys in. I guess he's going to put it on them this year. But he's really not a good coach as I thought he was. He had Ashton Grant, who had been in his system ever since he got there, and now Ashton he chose not to hire him or the guys that made him as successful as he was. He allowed those guys to walk and go someplace else, and I'm happy for Ashton and also for Rabel, who can evaluate talent because he brought Ashton with him, who was just a quality control guy for the most part, to be his quarterback coach. Shows you who can evaluate talent and who can't. And right now, you take a look at where the Patriots are and where Cleveland is.
Coach Stump, just thank you for your grace because I am a long-suffering Cleveland Browns fan, and it's so hard for me to be neutral sometimes because of just what you said. I believe the Browns, to your point, their second offensive line coach in 2 years. Mr. Callahan is free again. There's already speculation. There could be a conversation going on to see what it could look like to bring him back. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't think Bill wanted anything to do with that. I think he's been around long enough. I don't think he's so fired up about Andrew Berry, especially when Christian Worth, who the Tampa Bay Buccaneers drafted in the first round, Coach Callahan had him rated number one, and Andrew said if he was there, they would take him. Well, he was there, and they chose to take Jared Wills. I mean, a great guy, but he's not the guy that Coach Callahan wanted. And it's been some things like that. So I don't think with the people that are in charge right now, Coach Callahan would want to come back and work for the Browns.
Is that with the current regime in place, or is there a conversation that could be had if the Browns made some changes?
Yeah, probably if they made some changes at the top, general manager, head coach, he would consider it because it'll be a whole new regime.
Thank you, Coach Stump. Right now, the Browns are coveting last place in the AFC North. Pittsburgh, the front leader at 4-1, followed by the Bengals 2-4, Ravens 1-5. I just want to thank everybody for listening to another edition of Stump Talk Podcast, Running Back University. Any closing thoughts, Coach Stump?
I just feel for guys that have as an ex-player, you bust your butt, you work hard, you want to be defeated. If you get defeated by the opponent, you don't want to be defeated by the organization or by the general manager or the head coach. I mean, those guys that have been there 4, 5, 6 years now, Kevin can't say anything, or Andrew Berry can't say anything to those guys that will make them believe. The only thing they're getting is a paycheck from the Haslam's.
Running the clock out, coach. Running the clock out. Thank you. Thank you all. Come on back. See us next week. Thank you again to the T County Browns backers. Let's go, Browns. I believe we have the Fins up next. Stay positive. Take care of yourselves. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you.